mastered. Christina's not here today, so I am still here. It is Thursday. We are here with PE with Coach. I have a special guest today. Her name is Amaya. She will be sitting in with me today. And today we're going to be talking about wellness for life. Would you like to introduce yourself? Amaya, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Amaya. I'm her daughter. I'm just sitting in with her. So, hi.
Okay, so as I stated before, today is PE with Coach, and we normally go over some of the things that the parents have been doing. So as of right now, today I think is day, day 90 something. If you're keeping your PE log, you want to go ahead and make sure you're logging your activities with your students. And just keeping a log just in case is always helpful. We don't know which direction we're going to go in once the school starts back up in the fall. So you want to try to be proactive in that and log in your PE minutes. And then we'll go right into our topic. So Amaya, today we're going to be talking about wellness for life. And basically within physical education, we as physical educators try to teach our students how to be lifelong learners. And what does that mean to you when I say lifelong learners within PE? What does that mean?
Well, obviously, like you learn something new every day. So I feel like with physical education, a lot of people don't know a lot about it. They sometimes believe that physical education is just like, oh, going outside for a walk or, like a simple exercise. So I feel like every day trying to learn a different type of exercise or challenging yourself every day to like try to learn something different when it comes to your body and how you treat it. So that's what I interpret it as. It's very simple.
So I know that, in our household, we really try to encourage, our family to eat right, get physically active, but is this the only place that you learned about lifelong wellness? Where else did you learn?
No, I did learn it at school, although it wasn't as important. Like in high school, it was just a simple, let's go for a walk or something like that. But once I got to college and started talking to like the people that we have at our university and about how important it is to eat right, because as a college student, it's easy to go out and buy a hamburger every day or in between classes and stuff like that. So I feel like outside of just my household, a lot of people try to encourage me and, my peers, eat a little healthier. It's okay to have an unhealthy snack every once in a while, but even like a little cup of fruit, drink some water instead of picking up a soda. Little things like that I'm encouraged outside of just home to do.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, you said you're, how old are you? You want to share with the parents how old you are?
Oh yeah, so I'm 20. I just turned 20 in January. So
Right.
I'm 20.
Okay, and so like when we're talking about lifelong wellness in PE, I try to enforce in my class, not really enforce, but expose my students to a healthy lifestyle over their lifespan. Because again, lifelong wellness is not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's something that you're going to have to endure over your entire life. And like you stated, keeping your healthy habits over your lifetime can be one. I had this one lady, her name was Ida Keeling. And right now she's 104 years old. And she, I believe at 99, she won the 60-meter dash for the I think it was 29 seconds that she ran the 60-meter dash. And just think, at 99, she's a sprinter. Right now she's 104. She's healthy as can be, and I really think that she encompassed the whole healthy lifestyle. But what do you think that it looked like when she was younger? Do you think that she was taught over time? Because again, we're talking about physical education, and how can parents take what the kids have been learning at school and bring it home? Like, what does that look like as a millennial? You're 20. What does that look like for you, looking at Ida being 104 and still able to accomplish things at that age? What does that look like to you?
I think it's like probably over time, she probably adjusted as she got older because, you know, I'm 20. I can't do the same stuff that I did when I was 9. Obviously, my body is different. I look different. I have a certain amount of weight that I didn't have before. So it's like the stuff that I was doing at 9, I won't be able to do now because I'm 20. So when it comes to stuff like that, like being 104, that's amazing, first of all. And then I just feel like maybe changing your habits over time to match how old you are, because you can't do the same stuff that you did when you were younger. So like before, like I don't go for runs and stuff like that. I'm not a runner or anything.
Don't tell the parents.
But like before, when I was younger, you know, when you used to take us to the park and stuff and we'd be able to run or and stuff like that. Now obviously I can't do that. Now I don't work out as much as I should, but being able to adjust to like the things I can do, because I may not be able to run, but I could surely go for a walk. If I'm able to run a short distance when I was younger, that means now that I'm older, I should probably walk a longer distance because it'll be kind of equal. Do you know what I mean? So like stuff like that, just adjusting to as you get older because your body's different and it changes.
Now, you know what's compelling to me is the way that physical education has really changed. A lot of my colleagues were talking about how they're not really teaching to the standard, the California state standard for us here in California. They're not teaching to the standard. They're more so focused on getting kids active and getting them up and going and moving away from the why. And I haven't done that. And I've been getting a lot of slack, like, you talk too much to the kids. And I'm like, talking and adding that activity, it's building up their long-term memory of hearing some of those. For me, I have a lot of coaches voices in my head. I have Dr. John Johnson. He was one of my professors over at California State Dominguez Hills. Hey, Dr. Johnson. He was like 96 when I was in school. And he went to UCLA and he was on the football team with Jackie Robinson. And he had all these great stories. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because his voice, come on, folks, you're burning daylight. I hear that even being in my age now, and I've passed that on to my students. You're burning daylight. They know automatically we need to get moving. We're wasting our time. Let's go. And I think it's the little voice. So I'm really, looking at how some of my colleagues in this field have taken a step away from teaching to the standard in PE, because you want to get the kids up and running, and they're not really looking at the why. Do you think that it's important for kids to know the why instead of just go do it because I said so?
Yeah, because as a young adult and, obviously having past experience of being a young kid, someone telling me something to do something and me not understanding why, it doesn't give me a purpose to finish whatever you're telling me to do. So like, for example, when I was in high school and middle school and we were doing physical education, they never explained to us why. And then a lot of my friends and stuff would say like, what's the point? What's the point of us doing physical education? There's no point. And then it's kind of like, because you're a teacher, you're a physical education teacher, and obviously you're my mom, I knew the importance of it, but it was like our teachers never really explained to us why it was important to eat right and be healthy and being able to exercise without being out of breath in your first 10 minutes of you starting, stuff like that. So I feel like as a kid, you kind of have to explain why. I know a lot of parents are like, well, I don't have to explain anything to you because you do what I say. But sometimes it's good to explain that, because then it gives us a greater purpose and wants us to, it allows us to be able to finish and like want to finish instead of just slacking off and I'm just doing it just because.
Right. Oh, well, you talked about some of the activities, like now that you're 20, that you don't do the same things that you did when you were 9. And that's really what lifelong wellness is about. I want to share with the parents, like I had to take outdoor recreation in my undergrad when I was getting my certification and my BS. at the time, we had to take outdoor rec where we literally went out camping overnight. You were a baby,
Mm-hmm.
I had to leave you at home. And we went camping overnight and we learned different survival skills, learning how to, map out where we were if we ever got lost. And so, parents, when you're thinking about physical education, I don't want you to limit yourself to just get the ball, get the kids playing a sport, getting the kids, active. You want them to do a little bit of outdoor recreation where you go hiking, you're swimming. Swimming is a lifelong sport that you can do. You are bike riding. So these are things that are not just going to limit, oh, well, we got to get the ball out. We got to get out there for 15 minutes. We got to exercise for 10 minutes. Oh, she's suggested to stretch for 30 or more seconds. You want to look at it from a whole perspective, not just the typical, I got to get an hour in and it has to be this many minutes. Be creative, parents, because I try to expose my kids to as many possibilities as there were. And I don't know, Maya, maybe you can speak to the parents about how, you grew up and what it looked like for you in our house as far as eating healthy and, getting active and trying to be creative in how we ran our household. If you want to share, you go ahead and share.
Yeah, well, we did a whole lot of stuff. We went on walks, we rode bikes, grandma had a pool, so we were in the pool, and it wasn't just like you would like make up games. Like you're so good at making up games. It's ridiculous how good you're at that. But it wouldn't just be it wouldn't just be go out and ride your bike and go to the stop sign and come back. You would put out the cones and you would have us doing little maneuvers, or when we went swimming, it was like we had those, what are those little floaty ring things? And then you would time us, like you would throw it, who can get it fast? Yeah, who could get it faster? And it wasn't always like a structured, like, when people think workout, they think that they have to be like super structured and you have to do legs and you have to do arms and then you have to do this and do that. It wasn't always like that. You did set apart some time to where it would be a little more structured. But as a kid, you're not just sitting there like, okay, I'm stretching. What am I stretching for? Or we're doing this. What am I doing this for? It was more of like a game. And it encouraged me and my siblings to like want to be able to go out and be like, Mom, are we going outside today? Or are we going to go swimming today? Or are we going to do this today? So stuff like that, like make it a game, because kids love games. Kids love games.
I'm so glad you said that, because I had mentioned to the parents maybe about a couple of weeks back that everything is a game. And it's so funny, I think about it. I see that now that your brothers are in middle school and elementary, I see their teachers struggling because they think everything is a game. And I have to remember that when I'm trying to get them to acclimate to traditional teaching, because everything was a game for us to keep your interest. And, even down to family night. What did family night look like in our house? What was your most favorite family night?
Okay. So my parents we had like 3 different versions of Monopoly. And it was like every game night, it would be like, let's play Monopoly. I'm trying to beat y'all in Monopoly today. Like it was literally like just playing a game, trying to keep our interest, whether it be like Uno or, kind of competitive a little bit. I remember we used to have that chart, and we would have like our weekly, it was like we would compete against each other in specific games. And then at the end of the week, whoever had the last game or whatever, like that was the champion for that week. That was the best. That was the best.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm going to put you out there about, the dance experience.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Michael Jackson and the Just Dance, that was a workout though. I don't think I could do that now, but before I was beating everybody. I want everyone to know that was me. I was the winner.
That is, what is so funny. I was thinking about with my students, when we have inclement weather, when we go in when it's too hot or if it's raining, they have Just Dance on YouTube. And so parents, you can literally, like I've told you this before, literally go on YouTube and Google, I mean, not Google, but in the search bar,
Mhm.
put in Just Dance, and they have Just Dance for kids, they have Just Dance, but make sure you view it before you play with your kids. That way you don't need a counsel. Like, what was it? What is Just Dance on? It was We.
The we,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
the
you
we.
don't need a
Mhm.
Wii. You don't, all you need is a TV that has internet access, and you go to YouTube, and then everybody can play and
Mhm.
everybody can have a good time. And that was one of our workouts too. I think that was the most memorable for me because, first of all, your brother was hitting the head. They were they playing tennis?
Yeah, we were playing with the PlayStation, and they had just came out with the little ball thing that lights up, and
Yeah,
they were two things happened that night. He got hit in the head, and Dad broke the light fixture
chandelier.
playing tennis.
Right, right.
Yeah, the chandelier broke the chandelier playing tennis.
So parents, be careful. Make sure you check, like I told you before, as a PE teacher, we always check our surroundings before you start any physical activity. I'm telling you that's my go-to. Like now I'm just feeling so groggy and I'm not motivated. And I think that when we're teaching lifelong wellness to our kids, and even as an older sibling, when you're able to reinforce what you were taught to your brothers and then your peers as siblings, I think that that's the way that we can move the pendulum of our obesity weight with our kids. And then the number one, um, you know, a situation with our kids is obesity and diabetes. So we want to make sure that, parents, while you're listening to our conversations right now, that when you're talking about lifelong wellness, here's a couple of habits I wrote out. And I call it spark your attention. Select fruits and vegetables, S. Play, activity for at least 60 minutes a day. That's the P. Avoid excess sugar and fat, because remember we talked about when you have that excess sugar and fat and you're inactive, it stores on your body. And then you got all this heavy weight around you and all of this around you and you can't move, right? Everything's a game, right? Am I? Or you want to reduce television and media. Now, I just took your brothers to the doctor for their physical because, before seventh grade, students have to have certain shots and all that. So if you're a parent that doesn't believe in vaccination and all, hey, more power to you. I'm just giving you my situation. It was really interesting to me that the nurse had asked how much time do students sit in front of the television? And I tell your brothers, and you know this, I'm like 2 hours, and they have a heart attack when I say
Fall
two
apart.
hours, right? Fall
Mm-hmm.
on the ground, roll all around. But she was saying limited 2 hours. So what do you think now that we're moving into this distance learning? How do you feel about the limitations that we should put on our students, especially now that we're, sheltering in place for those that have decided not to get back out there since the is it a ban? Not a ban. Since it's been lifted and we can go outside. How do you feel about limiting to 2 hours? Because what is that going to look like?
Oh, well, I cannot live without my phone.
When you're
But
20.
I try. Well, yeah, but still, it's not good for my brain either.
Right.
Just sitting in front of the phone or the TV or sitting in front of my laptop. I try to limit my own self, whether it be putting it down for a little bit or even trying to get a book or something else to stimulate my mind, because all the movement and stuff, it's quick. So I know with my brothers, they do a lot of moving. The boys do a whole lot of. So it's like when it comes to stuff like that, I feel like you just have to find something else to stimulate the mind for the time being, and trying to drift them away from always being in front of an electronic. When I was
Right.
younger, they had electronics, but it wasn't as advanced as it is now. So it's like, my grandma, she would take me to the library or take me outside, or just simple stuff like let's go to the store or let's go and I know that it's very difficult to do that now because everyone's thinking about their safety and stuff like that. But it's just trying to get your kid to put it down so they're not always like, I hate to see when parents, like if their kid is agitated or something, the first thing they do is give them the phone or give them the tablet or something like that. And it makes me feel like our families aren't as connected because you're not taking the time to sit with your kid and figure out what's wrong with them or try to distract them from the fact that they want the phone or they want something else. So it's like trying to put them in front of anything else besides the TV or the cell phone in order for them to feel like, you know, you have my attention, or talking with them or reading a book with them or something else. You know, I can't think of anything specific at the moment, but anything that you feel like will be able to keep your kids' attention instead of just throwing them in front of the TV.
Now, but you know, what does that look like though? Like, how can you keep a child's attention? For example, let's see, where's a place that you need to be quiet that, well, now it's kind of difficult, but say like if we were going to a religious building, right? And you got to be quiet, right? What would that look like?
Well,
when you have your kids,
for
like,
a religious, well, I know if I had a kid, I would first of all I would try to embed in them the importance of just being able to sit and, you know, without being so jittery. But I know that for some kids, that's obviously very difficult, but you have to try to like get them interested in whatever you're doing. So like for me, if it was like, for example, a religious setting, like you said, getting them those kitty Bibles with the pictures in it so that they can be a part. You want to make sure that they're a part or implemented into what you're doing instead of them just being there, because they can learn. They have the capacity to learn, especially when it comes to whatever your religion is. You just have to figure out whatever, like I know for Christianity, for us, the boys have the picture Bibles. And when we do go to church and stuff like that, we had them using the picture Bibles when they had them. Or like the grocery store, instead of giving your kid a phone, you get the little newspapers with the pictures in them. And what do we have to buy? You point it out with them. You have them help you look for it. It's other stuff that you can do to make the kid feel a part, because sometimes, you know, I'm not saying you did this, but sometimes just by default, we feel like we're not a part of whatever you guys are doing because it's grown folk business, that whole little saying and stuff like that. But just trying to make sure that your kid has a way of understanding how the real world works instead of them living in the virtual world all the time.
Oh, that's cool that you said that, because again, you know, we're talking about lifelong wellness. We're talking about emotional wellness, physical wellness. We're talking about environmental wellness. And I think that a lot of times when I remember you being small and you would be in imagination land all the time. And we did do imaginary play with you. We allowed you to, you know, use your imagination and go places. But I would always have to wheel you back in, because we have kids now that are just gamers, and they are just don't want to get off the couch, or they want to sit and just write, you know, in their journals, and they don't want to get up because that has become their comfort zone. And it's nothing wrong with that at a small amount of time. But again, we're talking about physical activity for lifelong wellness. We want to get our kids to be connected to who they are and where they want to go in life, and just allowing them to just, you know, get into that imaginary play all the time. You lose them. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah.
You do?
I mean, I agree to a certain extent, because like, you know, a kid will be a kid and they're going to live in imaginary land. But sometimes it is good for you to like like you said, reel them back in, because you can't always think that, you know, there's no danger, or, you know, imaginary play is all the time everywhere we go. Sometimes you have to be able to set boundaries with your kid, and your kid has to know those boundaries so that when we are in a specific setting, they know I'm supposed to act like this when I'm supposed to be out, or I'm supposed to act like that when we go to this place. So basically, like you said, yeah.
Now, do you remember when you said acting a certain way in certain settings, do you remember soft music ever playing growing up?
I know that you used to play classical sometimes. You and dad would play
And what?
classical sometimes, but it was mostly when I did my homework or something like that to wind me
Mhm.
down and be prepared for the work that I had to do. I remember that.
So the reason I brought that up is because, like, I'm so glad you're being so authentic and so raw, because, a lot of times when people watch shows, they feel it's scripted. And I'm just so glad that you're bringing up things that, like, I even forgot about, or you sparked my memory to talk about, because we're talking about students with special needs, especially like today, Thursdays, we really focus in on students with special needs. And that doesn't always mean, special needs because of their physical challenges, their mental challenges. There's all kinds of special needs. There's cultural special needs. There's religious special needs. There's physical. There's, psychological needs. And so, when we talk about students with special needs, calming is one of the biggest things that all students can benefit from. And I mentioned before about the music, and I'm glad you brought it up. Just playing the soft music, even when you go to the grocery store, you think that playing the music would be a good idea? You think that something like that would be good?
Yeah, and then for me now that I'm older, because I do enjoy music and stuff like that, I have specific playlists for when I'm doing specific things. So like if I'm doing my homework, I have a playlist for that. If I'm cleaning, I have a playlist for that.
Right.
Even before I go to bed, like I listen to rain sounds or ocean sounds or the little Japanese sounds, stuff like that, so that because I have so much going on and my mind is zipping in 1,000 different places. It's good to just wind down to something and relax and like actually take a breather, because we're breathing, but are we really taking that breath? You know what I mean? Like to
Yeah.
catch up with yourself, because you're always moving so fast, and it's like the world is moving so fast and there's so much going on. And when you get home and you just have to just take a breath
Yeah.
and relax. So that's what works for me.
Well, I'm so glad you were here today, Amaya. I'm going to give the last K is keeping that water and spark up your health. K is keep that water available and making sure that your intake is way more than what you're putting out, so that your body is healthy and it's lubricated when you're doing your physical activities, when you're going outside, you're not dehydrated. And as we close, are there any is there anything that you want to, any pointers you want to give to the parents out there? And is your moment to give them something, if you would like to share a
Well,
last.
the only thing I'll reiterate is implementing your kid in the little things that you do, paying attention to them. Because my mom, sitting right in front of you, she really took the time when I was younger to really try to get me to like be a part. And I really like loved that when I was younger, how you really took the time out to like incorporate me in some of the things that you were doing, whether it was you taking me somewhere with you, or even if I was just sitting there listening to you, because there was a lot of times when you had a lot going on and you would just take me with you instead of just dropping me off somebody to watch me or something like that. And it made me feel like I was really, even though you're my mom and I'm a part of you, it
Mhm.
made me really feel like I was a part, you know what I mean? So just, I'm not a parent, so I wouldn't know what other people's situations or comparisons that I would be able to make to myself. But for the parents that are watching, just try to incorporate your kid instead of leaving them out, because they want mom and dad's attention. They want to know that, or like mom and dad, like I'm right here, like I'm here to listen to you, or I want to go do this with you. Like I love going grocery shopping with you now. Before it was a drag, but now now it's great. I love it. It's so much fun,
Awesome.
because it's the little things. Like, and now that I have siblings, it's like I feel like I have to share my mom. But the little stuff that we get to do together just makes me feel like, I have a special connection with you. So when it comes to parents, especially parents who have multiple kids, it's like taking that time out to be separate with your kid, like one specific kid for a certain amount of time, it feels great. So that's it.
You teeter. Well, our time is up now. Thank you so much, Maya, for, coming in and hopping in here with Managing Day with Christina Laster. If you would like to get a hold of Christina Laster, you can reach her at Christina@mpunion.org. Make sure you go to the National Parents Union webpage to look at the Family Bill of Rights. Leave a message, a comment on what you think, what was written for you. And if you would like to get a hold of me and ask me anything you want to ask me, my name is Janae Robinson. You can reach me at jrobinsonpeclass@gmail.com. And it has been great. Oh, give them your crazy face before we go. Crazy face on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.